Cities are on the front line because federal and national and international organizations aren't doing anything. They either deny that the world is changing, or they say that it's not changing so fast that we should do anything about it. But all of the scientific information that we have and the empirical evidence we see with floods where we never had floods before, droughts where we never had droughts before, tornadoes we're having a record season, hurricanes predicted to be a big problem this year, change in the Gulf Stream which will change all of Europe's temperatures. These are things that somebody's got to worry about. What we need in New York City is to have the state and federal governments have some backbone. We need them to pass and enforce laws much more than we need financial aid from them. Unfortunately, governments always think that money is the answer to everything. And in fact, in a lot of things, too much money is more detrimental than too little money. Mayors are where you deliver services, so they have policy. They can change local laws about buildings, and buildings produce in New York City 80% of the greenhouse gases. In most other cities, a much smaller percentage, but they can require you to use different fuels or burn it more efficiently. Well, there are two big announcements today. One was an organization, Local Governments for Sustainability, ICLEI, and we signed a memorandum of understanding with them to try to get data on what every city is doing around the world in countries and states on a common basis. Right now, everybody's got a different standard, and so if you're trying to allocate resources or look to see where the problem is, it's really very hard to do. The other is an agreement with the World Bank. Bob Zoellick, the president of the World Bank, is a very forward-thinking guy. He understands the problems of the environment, and he'd like to find ways that the World Bank can help. And so the announcement is, together the World Bank is going to make it easier to know what services are available through them, what funds are available, how you apply for them. And he's going to work with the C40 cities so that these cities can access funds or help other cities access funds. You know, we only have 12% of the population among the C40, but 70% of the people live in big cities. And so it's a very big deal to make sure that those cities get the resources they need to combat climate change. The most important thing is it gives the C40 real credibility. We also announced a partnership with the Clinton Climate Change, which is Bill Clinton's Clinton Global organization's climate part of it, and this Local Governments for Sustainability called ICLEI. The more of these organizations you put together, the more relevant they become, the more they can marshal resources, and the more they can command the attention of the press, which is really the ways you get to the federal and international governments. We put out a plan of 127 things called Plan YC. 80-odd% of them are either completed or underway. We've made enormous progress in changing some of the laws so that we will be phasing out the worst polluting heavy oil that are used in boilers. We've convinced a lot of people to paint their roofs white, which reduces our energy consumption, and people to go to away from incandescent bulbs and go to fluorescent bulbs, which use a lot less energy. We've worked hard to make mass transit more attractive to the extent the city can. Unfortunately, mass transit in New York City is a state issue, but we can, working with the state, at least change some of our traffic signage and controls to speed buses up and make them more attractive to get riders out of their cars and into the buses. We've gone and tried to encourage people to take bicycles or to walk, those kinds of things. We're responsible for the air that you breathe, how often your child goes to the hospital, the water that you drink, your job. And so we've got to build up an environmental agenda that protects us today. Global warming is a serious threat, but it's down the road. In the end, people care about short-term things. They care about jobs and they care about houses. Their job, their house.